All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations be unto the Akim, out here pushing this gospel and truth and sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is Brother Quanah Wath, come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will, it is straight to the point. And it's going to be an in-transit lesson, man. You know, Lord will, it is edifying, Lord will, straight to the point. You know, Lord will, I'm not all over the place, man. Just kind of, was, just meditating, more information, right, on the EP Steam files, has been released. And a whole bunch of information about celebrities, government officials, right, as we've been knowing, it's coming out even more. And what that is doing is ultimately prompting Esau to speed things up, as we read in Revelations 12 and 12, right? That he knoweth that he hath, but a short time. He knows that the true prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, the Heavenly Father Yahweh and His only beloved begotten Son Yahweh Shai, are on the scenes, preaching the downfall of His rulership, right? Preaching, basically His removal from that power seat, and Esau is trying to establish himself as a perpetual ruler over, all creation, right? And how he's trying to do that is, through the left-hand side, right, using this technology, right? The RFID micro C-hip being the main, the main tool that he is going to use or is putting in place, right, to use as his device where he's able to track, trace, control, you name it, everyone and everything, right? Which, as we read in Revelation, the 13th chapter, right, when you go into that word mark, right, pulls up the Greek word charagma, right, which goes into a stamp, a badge of servitude, or a stamp of servitude, right? But when you go into the definition of that word, right, because that was just ultimately an example, if you will, but when you go into that word, it goes into an imprinted mark, right? And something that is imprinted, right? Something that is put inside you, right? Which, again, we know it is the RFID micro C, the little rice grain, as well as the brain, the brain disc that Elon Musk and his company Neuralink and other biotech companies are putting inside people's heads, right? That's what the mark is, right? Is the RFID micro C. But again, right, we understand that mark is a badge of servitude, right? Meaning that he wants everybody to be subject unto him, right? Any and everybody to be subject unto him, right? And this is all part of his NWO, right? His New World Order, right? Which, if he's able to fulfill, right, that will solidify him, again, being a perpetual ruler, right, forever. Meaning that the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai will not come to pass, right? And the kingdom is promised to come, right? Which brings me to, this precept, which I was reading in Psalms, the 33rd chapter, earlier at lunch. We're just meditating right on these two precepts you see highlighted right here. These two verses you see highlighted right here. This is Psalms 10 and verse Psalms Slack you. Very rough day at work, but nonetheless, Psalms 33 and verse 10, it says, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. Right now, I want to go into that word counsel. Right? I'll actually grab a few words in this one verse. Right? This is Strong's H6098. Right? As you see, Asha or Asa. Right? It says counsel, advice, purpose. Right? His purpose. You know, what he ultimately, is trying to achieve. You know? Right. It says bring his counsel to naught. Right? Let's go with that word. Naught. Right? Ooh, Strong's H6331. It says what? To break, crush. Bring to naught, broken, utterly take. Right? So Yahweh Bashim El Shai is going to break his purposes, man. When Esau ultimately tries to establish his NWO, right, where again, because we understand that there's going to be a point in time where he's going to make mandatory the RFID micro CHIP, and in order for you to be able to participate in society, right, you're going to need that Karagma, right? Everything is being made digital, right, which again is all part of prophecy, right? Revelations 13 verse 16 on down, really the whole chapter, so we know that time is very near, right? Everything is being made digital. You already have people taking the Karagma. Esau's been, advertising it. Next comes, the bribery and whatnot, right? Like we've seen him do with the C19. He was telling people to take it, telling people to take it. You know what I mean? And then it came time where he was like, nah, everybody got to take it, right? He couldn't make it, 100% mandatory as far as, which he did, to a certain degree, right? If you wanted to be able to go into, your favorite nightclubs or your favorite, your certain grocery stores, so on and so forth, you had to take the C19, man, which again, that was just a prelude, right, to what is coming, So soon he's going to make it mandatory in order for you to just fucking live, basically. That's what's coming. But see, Yahweh Bashim El Shai is going to break his plans up, man. Right? Right? Because when you go into that word devices, right? Strong's H 4284, right? His thoughts, device, right? Plan, right? His plan, his inventions. Right? Esau's plans are finna get broken up, man. Yahweh Bashim El Shai is not going to allow him to fully establish his NWO. Right? We read that in Job 20 and was that verse 24. Right? When he is about to fill his belly, he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Right? And this should bring, comfort to us, man. Because understanding that Yahweh Bashim El Shai is in control. Right, even though Esau is going to a 444 call Yahweh Bashim El Shai. Even though Esau, the Yahweh Bashim El Shai is going to allow this devil to go so far, and it's going to look bad, right? It's going to look, like Esau's really about to do it. We should take comfort in the scriptures, right? Knowing that Yahweh Bashim El Shai is not going to allow him to do it, man. No matter the circumstance, no matter the tribulation, affliction, the suffering that we have to go through, right? We understand that this damn devil is going to lose in the end, which he's already starting to lose now, man. You start to see the curses starting to come upon this damn devil, right? More and more, but at some point, right, it's going to look like Esau's about to win. Like Esau's about to get the victory, but we understand that he's not going to, right? According to the scriptures, right? So let me go back, or we'll read that next verse, right? Psalms 33 and verse 11, it says, the counsel of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai forever standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations, right? So it's the counsel, right? The plan, right? Let's go into that. Let's, ultimately see if it's the same word, the counsel, right? It's the same word, right? Right? The counsel, the purpose, right? The advice, right? the plans of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai standeth forever. Right, so the Lord is finna bring their plans to naught. Right, but he's gonna, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's plans are gonna stand forever, man. Meaning they're going to be accomplished. Right, scriptures say that we also have a more sure word of prophecy. So as the Lord ultimately puts his spirit upon, right, his men to go out here and tell you of the things that are going to come to pass, and you best believe the Lord, right, is going to ultimately have those things come to pass, man. Lord isn't just gonna, raise up men, right, to preach this gospel, right, to be made a spectacle, right, unto the world, to preach this truth, to raise up other men, right, to continue, to do the same thing, right, believers being risen up, just to, for this, for that plan, to ultimately be thwarted. No. Right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is the one that makes the plans, right? The scriptures say, even Proverbs 21:1, right, that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, and he turneth it whithersoever he will. So at the end of the day, right, Esau's plans, right, are the Most High's plans. They're not his own. Right? This whole, our lives, are written and guided by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All the good things, all the bad things, everything, right? You read in Sirach, in Salaki, I know I'm, quoting a lot of scriptures, but you should be in the spirit of the church of Berea, man, and go and look these things up, But nonetheless, right, you go into Sirach, the 18th chapter, right, start the first verse, right? He that created everything, liveth forever, right? And he governeth the world with the palm of his hands, man. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is the one that's guiding everything, controlling everything, right? Scriptures say the deceived and the deceiver are his. Esau believes that it's him doing it, right? That it's his plan. But see, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, because Pharaoh was ultimately going to give, ancient Pharaoh, right, was ultimately going to give up, and let the children of Israel go. But see, the Lord ultimately hardened his heart. As the scriptures say, right, the Lord hardened his heart, right? So the Lord can ultimately show his power. And see, the same thing, right, is happening today, right? The Lord is ultimately putting the spirit upon Esau, Edom, to go harder, And again, right, there's going to be a point in time where it's going to look like Esau is about to, accomplish what he's setting out to do. But see, the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is the one that's in control, and Esau's plans, directly contradict with the Heavenly Father through Yahushai's plans. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's plans, man. And so we understand again, right, that Esau's plans are finna be thwarted, man. That Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's plan for the kingdom to be set upon earth, and righteousness to be, pushed throughout, existence, right? Throughout the universe is going to be established, man. And that's something that, again, we can take comfort in knowing and understanding, especially as these times continue to, grow more evil. Lord, will we be part of the elect? We have nothing to worry about, man. Esau is not going to win. Esau will not get the victory, right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will, is going to get the victory, at the end of, the beginning and the end of the day, man. The scriptures say that the end is manifest from the beginning. So, hey, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's plans have already, as far as, the Israelites getting the victory has already happened and taken place. We're just watching it, ultimately, play out, Beautiful times, man. Beautiful times. We were just meditating on that, man. Lord will was edifying. Lord will straight to the point. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rachak Wadash. Again, double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of the great millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.